The roller coaster ride that is Florida State football under Mike Norvell is at a peak again. Welcome to the Voice of College Football, breaking down the game we all love each and every day with you. Best discussion, debate, and analysis. And instant analysis is back in 2025 as Florida State stuns a mild shocker over two-touchdown favorite Alabama in Tallahassee, 31-17. Please like the video and subscribe right here at the Voice of College Football. Mike Norvell, 2020. 2021, can't coach, 8-13. Then 2022 and 23, ACC champions that second season, and 23-4. Mike Norvell's 2024 edition, preseason top 10, plummeted all the way to 2-10, the most catastrophic drop in the history of college football. Mike Norvell's team did not look poised to bounce back to this degree, to knock off a top 5 or 6 team in the country in Alabama, but they certainly got the job done. Now let's recognize what Mike Norvell was able to accomplish during the offseason. He brought in a new offensive coordinator in Gus Malzahn, who knows something about beating Alabama football 3 times in 6 years at one point. Against Nick Saban, that's almost miraculous. And Gus Malzahn leaves UCF as he is the latest coaching casualty at the head coaching ranks that says, I just want to coach football and scheme, and therefore this is a perfect spot for him to fix the Florida State offense. And apparently he has to a certain degree. And then on the defensive side, Tony White, who molded a top 25 defense at Nebraska, comes in to right the wrongs of Florida State football defensively, and he brings in one of the best defensive line coaches in Terrence Knighton, and the change in Florida State football night and day. Let's start with Thomas Castellanos, the former Boston College quarterback who said during the offseason most famously, Alabama does not have Nick Saban to hide it behind anymore. And also, I just don't see how these guys are going to stop me. It seemed ludicrous at the time for Thomas Castellanos to make such bold proclamations, but he backed it up. 9 of 14 passing seems pretty mild, only had to put it up 14 times because the rushing game was that strong. Castellanos, this not counting sack yardage, 16 carries for 78 yards as the offense was humming in the first half. They took a 17-7 lead. Again, Gus Malzahn knows how to mold a rushing offense, and of course, he and Nick Marshall 10 years ago, plus en route to a BCS championship game appearance in the Rose Bowl against this same Florida State program. And it looks like Gus Malzahn's got another Nick Marshall on his hands, and that's a good thing. Gavin Sawchuk, also an incoming transfer portal addition to this rushing attack, scored a touchdown. And Gavin Sawchuk of Oklahoma, and also a key part of this rushing renaissance for Florida State would be their center, Luke Pettibone, coming in from Wake Forest, where he started 22 games and played 38 games total for the Demon Deacons. At wide receiver, they weren't needed today, but keep in mind as we go further into the 2025 season, Florida State has revamped the wide receiver core as well, with Deuce Robinson coming in from USC, a nightmare of a matchup for most safeties and linebackers, and also Squirrel White and Jalen Lucas. We saw him explode today in a 64-yard scamper with a swing pass. Alabama was outrushed by Florida State 230-74. Jeremy Bernard, all the attention goes to Ryan Williams, and we understand why. He's a great, great talent. 5 catches, 30 yards contained by Florida State on this day. Jeremy Bernard was actually the best wide receiver for Bama down the stretch last year, and he continued a hot stretch. 8 catches for $146 as Bama tried to stay in the game. They did cut the lead to 24-17 with about 10 minutes left to play, but Florida State put it away with a long touchdown drive. Ty Simpson, he also is going to gain much criticism for this effort. His first start as Alabama quarterback, he's been waiting in the wings virtually forever. 23 of 43 for 254 through the air. He was not good, not impressive, but also, once again, the offensive line for Bama beaten up in this game. Florida State won at the line of scrimmage. There was no doubt. Kalen DeBoer's record at Alabama drops to 9-5. Nick Saban would lose 5 games against about 50 or 60 wins. DeBoer is not on the hot seat. He's got a long-term contract. He's a good coach. Will he right the wrongs there? I don't know, but he is capable. Maybe it's just not a good fit. Maybe it's just a difficult transition. We, including pointing at me, believe this Alabama edition to be much improved from 2024, especially with offensive coordinator Ryan Grubb back with DeBoer. Of course, they worked magic at Washington with Michael Penix, and Jalen Milroe not necessarily being a good fit for the Kalen DeBoer offense, that he had more of a DeBoer-type quarterback in Ty Simpson, who once again was a blue-chip prospect and waiting in the wings. He knows the Alabama offense and has worked in this system for quite some time, and so we expected so much better of Alabama football, and what we got was Florida State fired up and ready to go. A complete reversal of 180 degrees from the Florida State that showed up against Georgia Tech and against Thomas Castellanos and Boston College in one of the lamest efforts I've seen in recent college football. But Mike Norvell has things cranked up once again, apparently, in Tallahassee. For the Noles coming up, they've got a school called East Texas A&M and then another give-me game against Kent State. They've got Virginia to open the ACC season on September 26th on the road. For Bama, they lick their wounds against Louisiana Monroe. They've got Wisconsin coming to town before they open up SEC play. Ouch, at Georgia, a 45-7 winner today against Marshall. Your thoughts on Bama, your thoughts on Florida State, leave your comments and questions down below. Keep in mind that we take your calls, your comments in the chat every night, 10 p.m. Eastern, or after the games, right here at the Voice of College Football.